All right, y'all. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know who it is. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hype me up. All that good stuff I need. All of it. I appreciate y'all. Let's start the show.
That if the state doesn't tax the rich, they'll have to raise property tax here in the city.
And as political reporter Marcia Kramer explains, it's all part of his new spending plan that he calls a last resort.
But I want to be clear, $5.4 billion is still a very steep mountain to climb.
In laying out his $127 billion fiscal plan that, despite the gap, increases spending by over $14 billion, the mayor offered a strategy that offers Governor Hochul and state lawmakers a Hobson's choice. Either pass election year tax hikes on the rich and corporations, or he will raise property taxes on everyone, homeowners, building owners, and corporations that own property here.
The property tax increase, if the city was forced to do so, would be at a 9.5% increase. This is something that we do not want to do, and this is something that we are going to utilize every single option to ensure does not come to pass.
But to some, it was a cynical attempt to leverage his popularity to wring more money out of Albany. Facing re-election, Governor Hochul has already ruled out taxing the rich, even though, by Mamdani's calculations, it's only 33,000 New York City residents. And today, the governor said she was against a property tax.
I'm not supportive of a property tax increase. I don't know that that's necessary. But let's find out what is really necessary for him to close that gap.
I pointed that out to the mayor, asking, I wonder if we have a situation where this is a clash between ideology and reality, and if faced with the fact that you won't get those taxes from Albany, would you really, really, really raise property taxes here in New York City?
This is not a conversation on the basis of ideology. This is a conversation about a fiscal crisis. And when faced with this crisis, the question is who should pay these taxes? I believe that it should be the wealthiest New Yorkers, the most profitable corporations.
Councilman Simcha Felder, a veteran of both Albany and the City Council, predicted that there would not be a property tax hike.
I think that there are a lot of tricks that magicians, and past mayors, including Bloomberg and Giuliani, figured out at the end. And I look forward to the current mayor succeeding at that as well.
So you're looking for tricks and magic?
Yes, and it occurs. And it occurs year after year.
So for the record, this was just the mayor's proposed spending plan. The actual budget won't be done until after the state budget is finalized this spring. And if Councilman Felder is right, someone is going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat.
Tricks and magic. I mean, a lot of people are sweating over this right now in the city. It can really hit wallets hard.
Since Zoran Mamdani wants to start deleting comments which are good faith critiques of his administration, just like Joseph Stalin did, just like Fidel Castro did, just like Maduro did, I'm going to give you my take in 60 seconds or less of his first 30 days in office, all right? Let's start off with his appointments. He appoints someone to housing who said, and I quote, home ownership is a weapon of white supremacy. Okay. Then he appoints someone who in 2020 said, I don't give a damn if they burn down Target. Then he appoints 2 violent ex-convicts. Wonder how their victims feel. Then he stands up before the podium and says, New York City unfortunately has a $12 billion deficit. Well, that's just napkin math, you brainiac. That's exactly what happens when we give $12 billion to illegal migrants instead of back to the taxpaying citizens themselves. Then the winter starts. 14 people die right off the cuff because he'd rather virtue signal and win popularity contests than doing the right thing like a leader should do by clearing the homeless encampments. Then 2 days ago, he goes to the hospital to visit a knife-wielding man who almost stabbed an NYPD officer in the face. Then yesterday, a man named Jermaine Parnham is arrested. And it turns out that Jermaine had 32 prior arrests under your justice system, Zoran. Before you turn around and try to pass the buck and blame other people, you are mayor of a city council with 51 members, and 45 of them are Democrat. The power to change is sitting in your hands. You are just refusing to use it. And now, I know I can't speak on behalf of all New Yorkers yet, but I can speak on behalf of all New Yorkers who have their eyes open when I say as follows. Vote of no confidence.
Into New York City, Mamdani is intentionally creating a crisis. What do I mean? Well, he's dramatically increasing his city's budget for all this, quote, free stuff, right? Well, of course, he could just cut spending. I mean, New York City is full of waste and fraud, but he's not going to pay any attention to that. No, he needs to increase the budget dramatically. And, of course, it's going to fall short, right? So, of course, what's going to be the only option for this? Well, he's already laying the groundwork for how he's going to have to raise taxes on everyone, especially property taxes on everyone. Well, this shouldn't be surprising, guys, because this is what always happens. Even if you can get a tax through on these extremely wealthy people, well, they have options. They can lobby for loopholes. They can just move. And we've seen this happen in France. We've seen it happen in England. We've seen it happen in Greece, in Italy, in California, in Illinois, in New York State, and of course, New York City. And so this is the same story that happens every single time. But I think Mamdani is special because I think he wants this crisis to come about. He's making it look like, oh, this is the 2008 financial crisis. This is like the pandemic crisis. Guys, none of these things are happening. He's just making this up out of thin air. He is intentionally blowing up the budget so he can create a crisis to make taxes go up. Why is he so set on doing this? Because if rent is controlled, so property owners can't raise the rent, but he can jack up property taxes, meaning he's going to make it more costly for them to operate these properties. That means they then have to sell to the city, which they are now required to have first choice anyway. So the city is required to have first choice of buying anyway. This is the master plan, guys. And if you want to know how absurd this is, the state of Florida has 3 times as many people as New York City. 3 times. And yet it has a lower budget. This is how bloated New York City is with waste and fraud. There's plenty there to cut, but Mamdani won't even consider it an option because he desperately wants to raise these taxes so he can start picking up these properties in perfect socialism.
I just want to make a point right here.
Do is get rid of carried interest. One of the greatest provisions for people like me, to be honest with you. I give up a lot when I run because I knock out the tax code. And she could have done this years ago, by the way. She was a United States senator. She complains that Donald Trump took advantage of the tax code. Well, why didn't she change it? Why didn't you change it when you were a senator? The reason you didn't is that all your friends take the same advantage that I do. And I do. You have provisions in the tax code that, frankly, we could change. But you wouldn't change it because all of these people give you the money so you can take negative ads on Donald Trump. And I say that about a lot of things. You know, I've heard Hillary complaining about so many different things over the years. Oh, we should have done this. But she's been there for 30 years. She's been doing this stuff. She never changed, and she never will change. She never will change. We're getting rid of carried interest provisions. I'm lowering taxes, actually, because I think it's so important for corporations, because we have corporations leaving, massive corporations and little ones. Little ones can't form. We're getting rid of regulations, which goes hand in hand with the lowering of the taxes. But we're bringing the tax rate down from 35% to 15%. We're cutting taxes for the middle class, and I will tell you, we are cutting them big league for the middle class. And I will tell you, Hillary Clinton is raising your taxes, folks. You can look at me. She's raising your taxes really high. And what that's going to do is a disaster for the country. But she is raising your taxes, and I'm lowering your taxes. That in itself is a big difference. We are going to be thriving again. We have no growth in this country. There's no growth. If China has a GDP of 7%, it's like a national catastrophe. We're down at 1%. And that's like no growth. And we're going lower, in my opinion. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that our taxes are so high, just about the highest in the world. And I'm bringing them down to one of the lower in the world. And I think it's so important, one of the most important things we can do. But she is raising everybody's taxes massively.
Check out this one, too. Watch this.
Gathered here tonight at Harmony Community Church here in Lawndale as they're trying to light the way to fairness with this bonfire and discussion tonight. Many homeowners across Chicago receiving a hefty property tax increase in the mail, and they're all wondering where that money is going.
How can you maintain your home if your taxes are constantly going up?
Homeowners in Lawndale are searching for answers together tonight about their property tax hikes. Community leaders partnered with the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation to host this bonfire, allowing neighbors to discuss their options. One man says he received a bill this week that was $977 more than what he paid last year.
Tax increase is tied to a TIF that I have no idea why. Ogden-Pulaski TIF is collecting money from our neighbors in our streets, but we're not being notified for what or why it's in the bill.
The group discussed a number of solutions for the issue, including an effort to propose new policy, which would be modeled after California's Prop 13. That would limit property taxes to 1% of assessed value, with annual increases capped at 2%. Homeowners are also frustrated because they feel like they're not seeing the tax hikes lead to notable investment in their neighborhoods.
There's been a divestment in this community for the most part, but it seems like now that people have found an interest in reclaiming the neighborhood, now it's like we're being taxed for prosperity.
Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas also spoke earlier today on the tax bills while at a Rainbow Push event. She says there are new avenues for homeowners to pay these bills at their own pace.
You do not have to pay your bill on December 15th. Did you hear that? You don't have to pay it. Let me tell you why. We went to Springfield last year and set up a payment plan.
Pappas says you could go online on December 16th and find payment plans for up to 13 months. That's welcome news to these homeowners, but they still want some clarity on those tax hikes.
We understand utilities are going up and things of that nature, but it's a valuation issue. Like we don't have schools we need, there's economics that aren't here, but we're being charged to pay for economics in other people's communities.
Now, some people here tell us they haven't even received their property tax bills yet, but we are told that those are going out around Chicago throughout this week.
Do it again if I already did it.
Majority of New York City public school teachers voted for Mamdani, and he's now raiding their pension funds. I swear to you, I had to watch his budget speech like 3 or 4 times. I could not believe what I was hearing. And I am someone who knows Mamdani's real intentions, but still it feels unrealistic that he would do all of these things, all of these terrible things in less than 2 months. This guy's been in office since January 1st. And a 9.5 property tax increase? So much so for taxing the rich, right? I don't know how someone, especially here in the United States, still believes that this whole rhetoric of taxing the rich is actually functional. Oh my gosh, it is not. Here's what people usually don't understand. Okay, it's very cool to say, hey, let's all tax billionaires. They have enough money. They can pay so we can all live a better life. Billionaires have options, okay? Big corporations have options. They're going to leave. They're going to go somewhere else where they can make more money, where they can continue with their businesses, unless you are willing to prohibit that. And then we are talking now about a dictatorship. We're talking about extreme control, which I don't doubt they try and do. I don't doubt at all. But what happens is that the middle class ends up paying for all the promises that were made behind the let's tax the rich. No, you're not going to tax the rich, Mamdani, right? Because you can't. And who's going to pay for all those fake promises? The people of New York. People making what? $100,000 a year, which is nothing in New York. Nothing. We are talking about funds that are supposed to protect our firefighters, our cops, our teachers, their health benefits, for God's sake. He's putting his dirty hands into the piggy banks that protects our seniors. Who the hell voted for that? And I'm not even going to talk about the other crazy stuff happening there, like the Islamic call to prayer at freaking 5 a.m. blasting through loudspeakers, or his way of getting rid of homeless people, which is basically by freezing them to death, or the discussions being brought up if having a dog is considered a sin or not. Like, wow. New Yorkers, you are cooked.
I just want to say this. Why do y'all continue to believe that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all want to call Trump a dictator. This dude is literally trying to own the city. He's literally trying to take people's businesses from them in certain circumstances, if he believes necessary. Promising you these things, naming something he probably can't do, I'm like, and they're going to make you pay for it. Is that not a dictator? He's trying to take people's businesses. He's lying to you. He's trying to falsify your joy by telling you, and your hopes, telling you he's going to tax the rich. He's not going to be able to, and then he's going to make you pay for it. Like, I don't understand why y'all still fall for this tax the rich BS. And I didn't even know in New York that they were doing that whole blasting Islamic prayer throughout the streets on loudspeakers. If he's doing that, let me tell y'all something, because a lot of y'all never been outside the country ever. You don't even know how the world works. You haven't been outside the country. Turkey is one of the scariest places I've ever been to. Okay. It wasn't modern. It wasn't anything that I liked. Um, there was a bunch of pickpocketers there, especially the little kids. All their little kids there in Turkey, pickpocket tourists, all of them. It's a lot of people that don't like you. See, a lot of people don't even know. Remember it was the whole free Palestine and all this other stuff and hands off Iran and all this other stuff. Those people standing out there with those signs and protesting for those countries on their behalf never even been outside the country, don't even know a lot of other countries, don't even like you because you're American. They don't even like you because you're American. I've experienced that multiple times in multiple countries, especially Turkey. You better not walk down a dark alley in another country and you're American and they don't like you. It's going to be a problem. We almost ran into a problem, but we were a group of dudes from America. I don't think they really wanted that problem because it would have been, on that country as a whole versus America military. So, but anyway, they had a riot against their government, while we were there. But the thing was, what she was saying about the loudspeaker situation, we were at a bar, we're drinking, we're outside, it's dark around us, and throughout the loudspeakers, you just start hearing this prayer. It was scary as hell. Because I'm from Virginia and we don't do that. I'm not used to that. You know what I mean? So when I went to Turkey, I'm outside drinking at this bar, it's dark, and you just hear throughout these speakers throughout the country just this prayer. And it was like scary as hell. I didn't even know that they were doing that in New York. If they are doing that in New York, I don't know, but I don't know. But if they are, that's going to ring a lot of bells with Americans. If they never been through it before. Like, imagine being in another country and it happened.
Oh, it's getting spicy out here. This is not politics. This is a high-stakes power play. Mayor Mamdani said if Governor Hochul don't tax the rich, he'll raise property taxes by 9.5%. But that's not all. He's also talking about tapping retiree funds and dipping into New York's rainy day fund. Let's think about that. Retiree fund, property taxes, emergency reserves, all on the table. Now, understand the chess move. Hochul has an election this year. So Mamdani frames it like this: if you don't tax the rich, you're protecting them. That sounds great in the headline, but here's the trap. If Hochul refuses and calls his bluff, then he has to follow through. Homeowners get hit for 9.5%, and when property taxes go up, rent goes up. There's no such thing as a landlord absorbing 9.5%. That bill gets passed down straight to working families. And let's talk about retiree funds. Those aren't slush funds. That's deferred compensation. That's people who already worked 20, 25, 30 years. Now you're balancing today's budget on tomorrow's security, and the rainy day fund, that's supposed to be for emergencies, recession, crisis, disaster. You don't drain it for political leverage. So ask yourself, is this fiscal responsibility or election year pressure tactic? Because if Hochul folds, he looks like the hero. But if she doesn't, and he executes this plan, he owns the consequences. You cannot talk affordability while making housing more expensive. You cannot say you're protecting workers while touching retiree money. And you cannot claim stability while draining emergency reserves. This is political chicken. And the people in the middle, homeowners in this city, renters in this city, working families in this city, retirees who already gave their body to the city. If this backfires, the political class will survive, but the middle class won't. Watch the game carefully, because somebody's getting exposed, and it may not be who you think.
This is crazy. I'm like, do y'all not see it? They are playing with your lives over there. Just like he was saying, hold on, they're talking about the retirement fund. They're talking about a rainy day fund, and they're talking about raising property taxes if he can't tax the rich. You know why? Because he's not intelligent enough to know any other avenue he can go down to fund anything, especially working from a deficit. He doesn't know any other avenue to go down besides taxing people. He's not smart enough to know how to do anything else. But that's what they do on the left. They're not smart enough on the left in leadership to do anything else but tax you to fund things and to pay for things. That's all they know how to do is tax. That's all they're going to do. Just like he was saying, you middle class workers, you working families and stuff, y'all are the ones that are going to pay because this is who you vote for. So you continue to be the person that stabs yourself every time. You voted for this man who did not say none of this during his campaign. Now he's coming out and telling you, hey, if I can't tax the rich, I'm going to be forced to dive into the rainy retirement fund, the rainy day fund, and push up property taxes on you. I got no other choice. This is what he's telling you. And he's, just like he said, he's forcing the governor's hand, because now either the governor's going to be like, yeah, okay, I don't want my people getting property taxes to skyrocket like Chicago and to touch these two funds and maybe other things. So yeah, let's go ahead and put a higher tax on the rich. And if she does that, and the reason she doesn't want to do it, because she knows she runs the risk of these wealthy people and companies leaving and going south and taking their business and companies with them. Then the people that work there, that live in New York, what are they going to do? Things become tighter and harder. But if she says no and stands her own business and say, no, we're not going to tax them anymore, well, now she runs the risk that for sure this dude is going to run property taxes sky high to the working class and touch the two funds that he should never touch. That's what's going to happen. Y'all in a lose-lose over here in New York, unless, like that Jewish person was saying in the other video, that, hey, something magical has to happen so we don't go down either road. And yeah, we understand that at the last second some stuff happens, you know what I'm saying, where other roads can be taken, other paths can be taken. But from what we're seeing now, the only two paths that they're talking about going down is going to be a lose-lose for the middle class and the working families. But these are the people y'all vote for. These are the people y'all vote for. What it's going to show is that these people on the left and leadership really don't care about you. They have no problem risking your financial stability for their political career. That is what's being shown. It's going to have to happen with one of them. Just like he's saying, Mamdani came in there thinking he was going to force her hand. And he's still thinking that, hey, and he's not trying to take none of the blame or accountability. He is literally saying, hey, if she doesn't work with us with taxing the rich even more, even though he doesn't care about what kind of predicament it puts her in, he don't care. He promised the people he was going to make them tax them or whatever. And if she goes against it and he can't, now he can sit there and say, well, it ain't my fault. It's her fault. Y'all saw me fight for it. I tried. But when it's trying enough anymore, especially when you're running into crisis of affordability, y'all can't let him get away with, well, I tried. No, don't promise nothing if you can't do it. A lot of y'all voted for him not even knowing he can't do what he promised. This dude is literally trying to force her hand. He's trying to force Kathy's hand to say, hey, if she don't go with it to tax the rich even more, then obviously she's protecting them. She doesn't care. And if she does go with it, then he gets to say, hey, I kept my promise. Like, this dude is dirty. He's a snake. He has literally gotten in office and now he's trying to force the governor's hand. But he don't care what that means long term, because all he cares about is if she says yes and she goes with it, and she, and there's a tax put on the rich, and they leave, he's got to take credit for that too then, right? Just like he would take credit if she imposed, if a new tax was imposed on the rich and they stay, he would take credit for that, because he would say, I forced the governor's hand, right? But he would also have to take credit if that new tax was imposed on the rich and they leave, making things tighter for New Yorkers. So he would have to take the credit if things fall apart too, right? She's already saying she does not see taxing the rich as an option. But she also doesn't want taxes for the working class to go up either. But this is what he's saying is going to happen. It's either going to be this or it's going to be that. This is what I'm saying. People like him on that side for office, they're not smart enough to come up with any other way but to raise taxes on you or try to get taxes raised on the rich. But it's not going to happen, because if you have rich people like he said, they've done in California, they've done in Chicago, they've done in New York, it's going to continue to happen in New York. If they are to get that tax imposed, it's going to be nope. Some of them left even as soon as he got inaugurated. There was some wealthy leaving. Now, if that tax does get imposed, there's definitely going to be a lot more leaving. Guarantee it. And then, regardless, they're going to have to raise taxes. They're going to have to raise taxes on you regardless. Stop falling for the tax the rich BS y'all keep falling for. That stuff doesn't work. Stop falling for it. Stop standing up, giving a standing ovation the second somebody running for some kind of office tells you that they want the rich to pay their fair share in taxes. Stop falling for it. Your first mind should be, no, that don't work. It's been tried so many times in multiple states. It don't work. What else? What else you got? That's what the attitude should be to these people when you're sitting there and they're running for office and they say this to you. That should be the attitude. No, it didn't work in multiple other states. What else you got? What else you gonna do? But y'all keep falling for it. Why? This is not about defending Trump. This is just not defending stupidity. That's what this is. This is not about defending Trump. It's about not defending stupidity. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. Like, share, subscribe, hype me, all that good stuff. I'm building the channel. I need your help to do it. Please, please, brother. Brother, please. Please, brother. Please, brother, please. Yo, until next time, y'all, I'm out.
I feel like I'm good on my own. Don't need nobody beside me.